Hi there, this is Ms. McDonald. I wanted to just give you a weekly overview of the assignment for PreCal. So for today and tomorrow, so Wednesday and Thursday are your two class days, you're going to be focusing on rational expressions. So we started that right before fall break, talked about how you just have like a polynomial and a numerator and the denominator. We looked a little bit at graphing. So here after fall break, it's going to be more of that in a little bit more detail. But of course, there won't be lecture. So instead of doing a lecture, there are videos embedded in Delta Math. So that is going to be and kind of take the place of what I normally would do for a lecture. The thing is now there's no guided notes like we used to have. So it is going to be your responsibility to take notes during the video. And I have an example of that I'll show in a second. But you want to make sure that you have paper and you want to keep up with your notes because those will help you on the check your understanding. So the check your understanding that we used to do on the guided notes is now the practice problems that you have right after the video. So there's multiple little sections of videos for the lectures and multiple practice problems. Also, throughout the weeks, you might have some in-class activities or a Desmos or Amplify activity. So I don't want it to kind of become monotonous of like, oh, I'm just on Delta Math all the time. So try to break it up at least like once a week. There'll be something else for one of the days. So your sub, if you haven't already met her, is Miss Lee. She is great. I think you'll really enjoy having her during my leave, and she can help you with any of the math questions that you may have and stuff like that. Not this week because it's a short week, but usually on Thursdays, you will have an in class quiz. If for the in-class quiz, and I'll talk more about this next week when you actually have one, but you cannot use notes. You can use a calculator like Desmos or the Inspire that's in class and kind of go from there. So on Canvas, for the first day of class for whatever week we're at, so the first day of class this week was Wednesday, so this posted Wednesday. If it normal week, it'd post on Monday. So here's the announcement. So what I would do if I were you is read through the weekly announcement and has the agenda for the week. So you want to make sure you complete everything for the week. So for this week, there is the Delta Math rational expressions. I'll go ahead and open it, have that open in a new tab. And then the other activity is a Desmos Amplify activity. It's adding and subtracting rational expressions. Those are the two things for this week. Note that you may need to work on these outside of class in addition to in class. Just be aware of that. Another thing to work on this week, or make sure you do this week, is Math Plaza time. It needs to be 30 minutes. And then also there is a quiz. Normally, again, no quiz this week, but sometimes there might be a quiz. So just be aware of that as well. For the rational expressions, let's look at that Delta Math. So if I go over to, okay, here it is. For the Delta Math, just as a reminder, it now opens in a new tab. So there is a button here. That way it makes it bigger and you can see it. So the first thing on Delta Math will be this weekly overview video that I'm recording right now. And then you're going to see lesson videos. So you can see right here in the lesson videos how much you've watched it and everything. So 80% of it's been watched when I did it. And then I would come here to the practice problems and do my practice problems. And then again, there's another video and then more practice problems. So this whole thing that you see here is for the whole week. I'm not adding any more to it or anything like that. It's for the entire week or how many ever days we have this week. So while you watch the video, something I would recommend is taking notes. Like it's an art, it's a way to summarize. It is your choice on what to write. I'm going to provide an example for this first time of, at least for the first video. So for that first video of rational expressions, simplifying fractions with x, this might be what you write. It's basically the example problems that he writes in the video. Sometimes it might be definitions that he may say. It really just kind of depends on what you think would be important. You don't have to write down every example. I'd write down the important ones or the ones that kind of are different that you may or may not be able to solve, that kind of stuff. Also, some of the stuff in the beginning, I understand like this is like simplifying fractions with x is not a new concept for you, but I want to make sure that you know how to do that so that when we get to the concept for PreCal and Algebra 2 and PreCal, where we're simplifying the rational numerator and denominator, that skill that you did earlier is the same skill here, just with factors. So after I watched the first video, again, wrote some notes. Now it's time for the second video after I do the practice problems. So I factoring now with the numerator and denominator. Here's my example. So again, that's really what you're expected to do during these videos that you're watching for the Delta Math. If you have any questions specific to that, please let Ms. Lee know. The other activity for this week is the Desmos. Let me bring back the agenda. So over here, Desmos, it is really practicing adding and subtracting rational expressions, which is the last concept in the Delta Math. So I would highly suggest do the Delta Math first, then do the Desmos, or now Amplify activity. Okay. I think that is everything. Oh, right here is a link to a copy of the notes that I just projected and showed if you are interested. And then, oh, here is a PreCal course calendar. I have it here too. So as we're going through things, I have it listed out like week by week of like what you're doing. So if you're someone that would like really benefits from like a planner or wants to see like what we're doing each day, I do have that. And that is linked again in that course calendar. So it looks something similar to this. And I'll update it every week that I have announcements posted. So, because things might change as we go through. Okay, I think that's everything. I hope you guys have a good week. Again, if you have any questions related to the Delta Math or the Amplify or Desmos activity, please ask Miss Lee, and I'll be back in a few weeks. Thanks.